And this is going to be tough to do. And this is Dave Rayner's idea. Last year he came up with an idea. He is the motivator, I must say. Last year when we were 12, 4, and 3, Dave had an idea that plastic cups. And we bought a lot of ginger ale, rising ginger ale. And before the first game, we drank a toast to the team they could become. That was Dave's idea. And then we threw it down and stamped on it, and Joe had to pick up all the plastic again. Well, the team became, as Ken said, probably a little better than our expectations. Boy, were we happy that you did all that growth, all that work. And then Dave had an idea from baseball, where a guy with baseball was a little small and easy. He said, you have to put ball in the bag. And we'll learn that every ball that goes in that bag, win, lose, or tie. Until last week, one loss is in that bag. But we planned on it, you can learn from a loss, and we talked about it. And as special kids, the whole team signed that ball. And we can't do this for many more years. There's nothing like inflated balls. 10 years worth of deflated balls, a couple of brand new too. The coaches have selected game balls first. I'm sorry, but we didn't decide to go one on one. And some of them were off limits. Sectional ball against the center is mine. I'm really proud of you guys for that. And I just want that ball. If you want it, you got to fight for it. Even though I can't take anybody down on that team. I know I can't take anybody down. Maybe I might have some help. The university ball is played by Coach Rayner, so that meant a heck of a lot to him. And Paul said he really liked the first ball as his first win with as a coach for Naples. He gets the first ball. Paul, would you give the medal ball to my wife, please? All right. The three captains, Jeff, Rich, and Nat, please come up and select the ball. The North Olmsted ball is there, by the way. The coaches signed that one. We didn't want you guys to go to the team with it, okay? The coaches signed the North Olmsted ball. Okay, I want to hustle guys up and around. Joe Lala and Ed Kuzma, the next two. That's a good ball. That's a good ball. By the way, the number 2 ball, I don't know who wants it. This is the ball I had in high school. I brought it with me from Jersey. And loud ball, but it was a nice win. No hair on it, Timmy. Okay, the next two boys are Bez and Ayako. There's still one ball that retains air. Can you find it? I can't believe you guys don't want the East Lake ball. Okay, James and Mike Mena. That's the ball, Mike. Okay, George and Giuseppe. Right, Giuseppe, is the brush ball there? I don't know. Is the brush ball there? Greg Bailey and Kelly O'Keefe. Nick Phillips and Jody Assembly. Johnny, Jill Craig, and Phil Salem. Remember golden sport, you want to get that for? Yeah, all right. And Doug Smith. Good enough? Okay. Thank you, guys. What number? Mr. Perkins, are you interested in the ball? With everybody's name on it?
I'll take one for you.
Go ahead. I think the one right in the middle has everybody's name on it. Let me see. Ken, did you want to make some more remarks this evening before I get going? Okay, why don't you come on up here now, and then we'll get going with me and Paul. Okay, everyone, once again, Ken Gardner.
As president of the Mayfield Soccer Club, I felt I should say something about this year's varsity team and the successful season that they had. So there are real reasons for wanting to say something that this team was much deeper than that. And when Coach Peck permitted me to talk tonight, I'm sure he knew how much these kids mean to him. For those of you that don't know, I've coached this year's seniors club teams for the club inception. These young men were 10 years old. Since then, at one time or another, I've coached almost every member of this year's varsity. I'm privileged to be up here tonight, because that means in some way, in some small part, somewhere along the road, I was part of this team, and I was part of their lives. They all hold a very special place in my heart. This year's sectional championship against men meant more to Mayfield soccer. I'm sure most of the players in this team realize, probably most of you realize. We had 16 years of frustration, 16 years of disappointment, and 16 years of anger. I can't recall how many times this season I was told by former players of Mayfield, or by the parents who were telling what they had told them. I wish I had been 1 year later in school. Why couldn't I have been born 2 years later? I wish I could have played with a team with this much talent. And night in the better game, it was, I'd give anything to be out there playing tonight. The sectional tournament in 1985, Mayfield played Solon. The game had to be played at Solon because Mayfield was not allowed to have the night game at home. That game was almost identical to the sectional game this year played against men. Perhaps the only thing missing was the rivalry that our Mayfield had. Because Mayfield and Solon were not in the same conference, they obviously were not both undefeated. As in the better game, 1985 against Solon, Mayfield fell behind and was trailing throughout the first half and in fact trailing at halftime. Over 1985, Mayfield didn't score in the first minute and a half of the second half. Trailed the entire game, so there was only a minute and a half left. One of the big players pushed the ball past the Solon goalkeeper, sending the game into overtime. Again, it was a better game. Neither team scored in 2 overtimes. And the game had to be decided by a shootout. In terms of excitement, 1985 game was every bit as exciting as the game against Bennett this year. There was, however, one other difference. There were not 1,000 fans in the stand that night, back in 1830. And someone told you that there were maybe 14 Mayfield fans there that night, they were seeing double. After this year's sectional championship over Menor, was on the field talking to Coach Rayner, and out of nowhere, it came to mind. I think it was because of all the former Mayfield players who were in the stands that night. And also because Dave and I were joined by Kevin Hanzak and his parents. And I remember the poem that Kevin had written, and then read at the 1985 soccer awards banquet. We proudly wore the green and white, like any Mayfield team. We hoped for recognition, but the schools ignored our dreams. We yearned to be the conference champ. Of this, we were denied. We hoped to fill stands with fans, just to help our pride. And yet another season closed without our dreams being met. So one day soon, Mayfield soccer team will be the best one yet. Frustration, the disappointment, the anger, it all ended this year. Recognition from the school. People, you got a tough to with the soccer team on the day of the semi-final game against North Olmsted. You made it happen. Conference champs, you did it. Reaching a goal which was set, meeting a challenge which was made to you when you were in the 6th grade. Fans in the stands, Global South, East Lake North, Menor, Falls, Boardman, North Olmsted. 20 wins, 1 loss, 3 times. You made it happen. We came to cheer you. Dreams being met, a dream you, the Mayfield coach, had since you were in the 8th grade. I remember Coach Beck speaking about it at banquet back then, taking your bags for a trip to the Final Four. You made it. In future years, when anyone talks about Mayfield soccer, 1989 team, your team, will be the one that's going to be mentioned the most often. 20 or 30 years from now, perhaps, just perhaps, another group may come along and post a record close to what you've done this year. When that team in the future is being discussed, someone will say, yeah, this team is good. They can't hold a candle to the 1989 team. But one day soon, Mayfield soccer team will be the best one yet. No longer someone's to learn hope in the home. Not only are you the best one yet, you're the best one that there's ever going to be. You've counted yourselves as I am with you. You've met every challenge that you faced, and you reached every goal that you set. Very few of us at any time in life to make that statement about any particular undertaking. Yet you can because you did it. I know I speak for more than just myself when I say these 8 years have been fun. I want to say thanks. Thanks for your memory.
I'm glad that Ken did all that stuff because I couldn't write that. I wanted to, but I don't think I could say it. So, Ken, we really appreciate it. Thank you. A few words about my coaches. First, this guy over here. And this guy over here. Maynard, listen to this. The mono ultra microscopic silico mechanical yoga. Words. Okay. About Dave. I look just forward to coaching and making speeches about this year's JV, as I did a few years back about today's varsity. Kind of super year. Dave has been invaluable this year for our varsity team. Invaluable. He adds strength to the heart of this team. And I've always said in my classroom that a smart person knows where to go to get an answer. In many circumstances this year for my players, Dave was the answer. Dave, just thanks for it. about Hazy. Paul was not new to Mayfield, having worked with the Mayfield Soccer Club, but he was more or less new to me. And I have always believed also in associating with successful people, and Paul has certainly done well in the soccer field. He's been a terrific influence on the varsity team, and I'm proud to have worked with him. And I hope he returns next year. He has a few words tonight. On him.
All I want to say is that Ken is here. He's great, Ken. In the past couple of days, do I sound okay? The last couple of days I've been talking to Steve off and on the phone, and he's been asking me about the speech I was going to write. And I told him that I wasn't going to write a speech, that I was going to come up and say a few words and sit down. Well, after thinking about it, I realized that Coach Raymond has always been the one to make the speech in the past. And so I'm new to the scene, so maybe I'll say a few words. So I wrote a little speech for the night, and sorry. All right. No, first and foremost, I'd just like to thank everybody from top down for letting me be a part of this. This is the first year I've coached, and after this year, I don't think I want to coach again. Because there's only one way to go, and it's going to be tough. So, this is my retirement speech also. Let me thank a few people. I'd like to thank Mr. Beach for hiring me in the first place. It was a really good decision on his part. Well, I mean, my part. Wanting to be a coach. Thank you. And I'd also like to thank Joe Perkins and his wife did a great job after every game. He stayed. I can't believe how long he stayed after all those games, to clean up the mess. And there were a few messes after those great games, and that's really appreciated by all of us. I'd also like to thank the schoolgirls. I'd like to thank Lisa Colby for the broken rib I'll have for the rest of my life. I'll tell a little story about that. After the first Mentor game, it was 3-2, and we scored the final goal. I never got to see the final goal because I was hunched over on the side after being hit in the chest by a notepad or whatever it was, but it was terrible. Every time I walk a step, I feel it. And I always want to use it. Thanks to you, thank you. Special thanks to Jennifer and Becky for being out there every practice. Some of those days we practiced was just awful. It was cold, it was wet, and they were always there. They never complained. They taped the ankles. They did a brilliant job. Thank you very much. And Rich probably could attest to the weather. Some days you just didn't want to practice when it was raining. And those girls were there every day. Right, Rich? Yeah. All right. Oh, thanks very much. I'd like everybody to take those girls around. I'd also like to thank my wife. I don't think anybody has ever met my wife except Steve Cannon and Dave, because she never came to any of the games. The reason being was, at the start of the season, she could never make the game because of the schedule. And then after things got going, we kept winning. Dave can attest that she knows how superstitious I am, that if she came to a game and we lost, she knew I would blame her. So she didn't want to take that chance. So she never got to see how great we really were. And she just heard it from me. So she knows how great everybody is anyway. Thanks. That's really nice. Is the time okay? Is it? One question. What does serendipitous mean? I've been in college 6 years now, and maybe that's why. I say like, and you know about. I'd really like to thank Dave and Steve for what I've learned from them this year. I really learned a lot. You know, Dave motivates players like you wouldn't believe. I've never seen a group of young, grown-ups act like animals after a speech by anybody before. What's that coach's name? Lombardi? There's Lombardi. You're on the way. You're on the way. And Steve. I'd never met Steve really until this year. I've seen him referee a few games that I've been coaching, so we didn't get on too well. But, no matter what happens for the rest of my life, I think Dave as well, but Steve especially, because we work really closely this year, he's going to be my friend for the rest of my life. And, that's how much I respect the guy. He's a great person. And you guys on the team, sometimes I don't think you appreciate how much he's done for, the high school team, because you don't see the amount of work he puts into it. I can't imagine any other coach in this state putting in the effort, time, the patience, that he does for you guys. All the little pamphlets, all the little newsletters, all the, the talks he gives you. I think he, should be really appreciated on it. I think you do anyway, but thanks for all the good times today. One more little thing that I could miss, but I think for the rest of my life, I'll always remember one person on the team. That's Jeff Iacco, because I never did get the chance, because of the way the season went, to kick it. And every practice he tried to inflict pain upon me. And never failed. Even if I wasn't even playing, he'd slide off the field and trip me. The way I remember Jeff was because every time I walk up a step, my right knee hurts. And so that pain reminds me of Jeff. Jeff, someday, somewhere, we'll meet. Now, for the seniors on the team that are going to be going, to colleges or whatever, I just wish you the best. I think everybody will do well in life, because this team, not only this team, but you've learned what success is by playing on this team. And I think it can only help in life, here on, because, you know what it takes, and you guys all have it. You didn't have to be there every day practice. You could have thought of an injury, but every day you were there practicing with the coaches and the trainers, and I think that's why we were so successful. Parents, players, coaches, I congratulate you.
Really want to say thank you for your time here. This was being absurd, but before I go, there's a couple guys on the field here. And Mark and Jeff, want to come up and spend a few minutes up here? Look out for them, come to happen.
Okay, on behalf of the team, we would like to present Ms. Valerie Walcott with the Most Valuable Fan Award. Over the years, Ms. Walcott has been a strong supporter of the team, and not just this season. She's been supporting even when they were not so good. She has a list of accomplishments here. She's the creator of the Forbidden Sign, the
lectures being a Euclid. She is the one that is responsible for such features as read the rule book, sir, and much hated, let's go Jeffy. This was the worst, so I think the entire team agreed that we want a green book. She was also the only fan to come to the 6:30 Kirtland game. I believe everyone else was there at 4:30. So finally, we present you with this award for making the single most obnoxious phone call. A supportive fan that we have.
And I've been asked to present the most valuable mom award. And this goes to Barb Kuzma. She campaigned for this award at the start of the season. She was recruiting fans for the Madison game in the Kmart parking lot. She brought pretzels, hot chocolate, Twix bars, and brownies to some games. She made signs to promote soccer and displayed them on Ridgebury Boulevard. And she was the originator of the pasta dinner for the Final Four. I forgot about Jorge. She was his mom for a night. Wow. Grab this head over time out. This is going to be a long evening. That was great. I know, though, there were many, many most valuable moms and super fans out there, and we really appreciate you all. That was extra special. I guess I'm ready to roll now. What I'd like to do, though, first is again thank the moms who were part of the banquet finding committee. And I believe that it's Ms. Bezdek and Barb and yeah, Jan and Aqua. And this is great. I really appreciate it. Well, with what Ken said, what Paul said, and I guess if I wanted to be real curious to speak, but I don't want to make the score girls and the children just right. But I may start to sniff a little bit, and Paul said I'm going to go prepared, and so I am. Okay. What we have here tonight is not, as I'm often known to refer to our opponents, another bunch of high school kids playing soccer. What we have here tonight, actually, is a fantastic bunch of soccer players who happen to be attending high school. And luckily for us, that's our high school. What began in August, when I had just experienced the excitement of attractions and many rides in Orlando, Florida, as well as going to Cape Cod and taking rides on 8-foot waves a few days before we began our workouts. And what ended just last week on November 8th was an even more exhilarating ride, a much greater experience and bigger thrill than I ever could have planned or hoped for. There's so many things I could say, but I know I really have not got all night. And I'm trying to think, what's the one thing I remember most about this season? And I thought of our last practice when we played Kings Court and I scored 2 goals. No, that's not it. It's probably when George dumped cold water on me when we beat Kyle over the ball. And I had it in English because we should have done it. But, no, it's actually more like probably the first time when Coos dumped cold water on me when we came from 2 down to tie in at 3-3. And it was you, my dude. Yeah. I know where you live. Another thing I'll never forget is how crazy, absolutely insane I thought Paul was when he actually mentioned at a team practice
practice when we were stretching out, going undefeated. We're sitting there getting stretched out. I don't know how many games in we were, 5 or 6. And he goes, I know you boys want to go undefeated. I know you do. Don't tell me that you don't. And I said, holy two-lap expletive. How could you forget that? You don't say anything about no hitters in baseball and all this stuff, and he's saying undefeated. Unlucky. I'll also never forget Engelbert. Remember Engelbert? I'll never forget Engelbert trying to tell us he was going to move into Mayfield. And later on, trying out for a crunch. Well, I'll never forget that. And there's another thing I know I'll never forget. And that is when I put a major scare in the hyper-cool, dressed-up gentry dude, Joe Lalo, when I took him down this year. And I had him down for about 30 seconds. And then he flipped me on my back, and I was pinned about 2 seconds after that. I had him scared. No, I had a sweet move in there. Even though it happened 2 years ago, another thing I'll never forget, always remember, because I've got on tape, is when that cruise over there took me down, cheap shot in the alumni game. I had to mention it, the boy in the hat. I'll never forget that cruise, ever. Anyways, back to this year. What did I not forget about this year? How can any fan, even, not just Mr. Walcott, but anybody, forget Ernie's long throws versus Madison West G and Memphis, or Aqua's goal against Shaker Heights, or his sprint to deny an East Lake attacker for going 1v1 at Rich. Who could forget Rich's performance against Youngstown? Who could forget Matt's assist against East Lake? What a move. That was a damn thing that was going in our first ever win against North, or Dougie's hat trick against South in the mud. You just don't forget it. There's so many wonderful, memorable moments in this season. And, but I just can't say them. I've got them up here. I just can't say them. I would like to acknowledge a few folks before I get into the next 20 pages or so. One's not here, and she was a great lady. Pat was Chuso, for all her kind words and good luck flowers she gave me for the majority of our games. She was a super lady this year, and she's home with her daughter, who's ill tonight. And another man who's been mentioned a few times is Joe Perkins, who's done a super job, and I just have to put my 2 cents still. We appreciate that, and come here and have a little fun for you. Last year, we gave Joe some coupons to Miguelitos, and then it closed down. I don't think we ever do it. This year, the team and I did a little more, because Joe really, really worked hard for us. And thank you. Also mentioned but not here are the Hansack, thank you, Jan and Kevin, they came to a whole bunch of games and they weren't here, and I'm so glad that we read that poem. I had forgotten it, and I was about ready for this thing. And that was really nice from the Hansack for very special people. Another person I need to thank is not here, but perhaps his wife or someone like to come. I did this for Ken last year, and that's Rich O'Keefe, who did the clock for us. He may think it was no big deal, but to me, it definitely was a big deal, and I appreciate his fine work on the time clock. So Linda or Kelly, would you please come and accept this for me? Mr. Sidlecki couldn't come tonight. He announced our games, and we have a little something for him that you guys don't know, but he gave me a lot of money, and I spent it all. I even dug deep in my own loss, but that was fine. And we got him a gift certificate to Walden, because I know that he's going to want to read some book. He might read that book and then forget to teach you English for a while. I know the guy's tough, and he did a great job. I'd like to thank Mr. Beach, I'm not sure if he's still here or not, but he stepped out, he had to go to the board meeting too, and Paul Gaffey for 3 pep rallies, getting the entire school heads up about soccer. And last but not least, again, we've been recognizing all of you parents for your obvious love and support for your kids and the birthing of their soccer experience in the off season. I'm beginning to find out what it's like to be a taxi cab driver and letting your kids develop into whatever they choose to develop into. And I'm just so glad that your son plays soccer and that you were right there with him and let him get educated and go to camps and play indoors. And I calculated like you also spent about 80 or $85 to go on night games, and I know that's not easy either. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. I've learned a lot from the team over the last 3 years. I've learned that winning 40 games in 3 years is a lot more fun than winning only 29 in the previous 6. And you guys did that. It was much more fun. I've learned also that you guys don't believe in excuses. This is my favorite thing to say to anybody who wants to talk to me about this team. If it's hot, you win. You Varsity 2-0. If you're outshot by amount, you shoot more accurately. As in Toronto, we won 3-1, but they outpassed us and outshot us. If the offense can't do it, the defense can do it. Jeff Iacco. If the refs seem to hate us, you win anyway. The tournament game with, I shouldn't mention his name in public, but you know what I mean, with Willoughby South, 5-3. If the opponent is a crosstown rival, so what? In the 2 games we played this year, we beat Rush 13-4. If you're down 1, you get 2. Against Buford, 2-1. If history has odds against us, you beat the odds. East Lake North for 17 years. Our downfall, not this year. 3-2. If there's only 10 ticks left on the clock, no sweat, 3-3 minutes. If you get screamed at halftime, happened about 18 times this year, then you go to work. As in the Youngstown game. I was hot then, and you did it. And I'll always respect you for all your effort, and I work at clients. You do not make excuses. All you want to do is learn. I'm just so damn proud of this team that I could go on all night. If it were possible to bottle and reuse any aspect of this team, I would not take their talent. I would rather take and preserve their attitude and their togetherness. Your sense of friendship and your one-minded focus on a goal are timeless traits, as Ken said earlier. They're timeless. I feel fortunate to have been a part of your soccer success. I can only hope that these qualities remain in you all, and that future Mayfield team learns from the outstanding examples set by each and every one of you. You are all to be commended. And you will be soon. Thank you. Dave didn't have black, I don't have blacks, but I have certificates that say black. Okay, I just grabbed some extras, hit the typewriter, and I don't want to, I had more time than Dave. I'm not trying to put it on. I had more time or whatever, and I went ahead and did some things. We have our, well, I don't do the special ones, I want to do the regular ones. Okay. Bad here. These are our regular awards. Say the special awards for last. It's that time. Oh, you want to help hands down and shake hands or something? Please? Yeah, you can like maybe stay right out there and grab them. Our first set of certificates, okay, are for our score girls. And I'd like to say that Elisa, Teresa, Renee, and Lisa were here. It has sent to Joanne and Callie play basketball for their church team and their captains, and they missed like 10 practices already this year, and everybody was cut, so they didn't go to them. But in between all of their jumping up and down, these girls actually do keep score, and they keep time every game. And I'm very satisfied with their stats. They're all quite responsible, and they care deeply about the team. They're my hallway buddies, and their stats are always helpful and accurate. More importantly, your presence is appreciated, and Lisa, don't first ball anyway. So please come up and get your certificates now. Our score. moving right along, our trainers already received some accolades from Paul and his feet, and I'll probably echo those. Becky and Jennifer, I may have a certificate and a card also that says I've learned first aid and CPR, but believe me, I only feel secure if Becky feeds or close in hand, because I don't want to mess with the guy's smelly, swollen feet. They're being so responsible, which is, and they always fulfill their responsibilities, to have the kit ready, water and ice at all times, and pregame taping add a lot, I'm sure, to the team's success. And I really am sure it does, because our teams over the years have been well taken care of, and it's largely because of our trainers, Becky and Jennifer. I do not have certificates for these boys, but I wanted to talk about them for just a minute. I really appreciate the help of the boys I called up from JV for the tournament games. And a couple appeared just in one game each, and that was Brian Joyce's stand and Andy Jackson. Andy also worked out with us every afternoon in the postseason and helped us prepare for each game beyond. Also, I'd like to give certificates to the JV players who were called up, yet I need to type these. I neglected that. So if you'll just stand. They work with us every afternoon to get us ready for the tournament game, and their skills really helped us prepare for all those big wins. If you please stand, Scott Hozak, Steve Baskey, John Collette. And if they wouldn't mind, if I could have called up more, I would have, but we really needed help in the state rulings for ball boys also. And it was a big job, because if you know anything about being a ball boy, we want the ball, we want the ball, we don't want them to have the ball, we don't want them to have the ball. And if they stand just right now, John Kuzma, Jason McCarter, and again, Kenny Gaffney, thank you. Well, certificate time. And I think 9 new players getting a varsity letter. First of all, let Doug Smith please come forward. Hey, Doug, just sort of stand here and take your shots, okay? Yeah, we can just all stand here when I call him. Okay? Doug, I don't think anyone would be surprised to hear me say that Doug is the future GCC standout, and possibly more. In the regular season, we saw flashes of brilliance with his 3 assists against Brush, and then his beautiful cross to Jeff Time Menor at 1-1. He wasn't too shabby in the playoffs either. 4 goals and 1 assist. Doug Smith. Phil Salem. With 5 games left in the regular season, this young man did what a soccer player is supposed to do. Hustle. Phil treated done. This time, though, the impact of his great determination took him down. But Phil's eyes, when you see him, and his voice, when you talk with him, prove that he'll be back next year. So look out, Willoughby South. So. John Benedictus. This midfielder forward is always ready to go. I believe that his 1 goal and 3 assists are a preview of coming attractions. Johnny's contributions were a big factor in our win over U.S. on a 1-1 tie against Mac. Thank you, John. Joe Kramer. slowest I've ever seen Joe move. Joe plays soccer mainly one way, fast. His work rate in soccer is phenomenal. I think I saw him get tired once, back when he was in 8th grade, and that was when he studied all night long. If he learns to keep the shots down, his goal total next year will go up by a factor of 10. Good job, Joe. Next corner. Nick didn't score a lot of goals. Man, did he have a week in mid-September. A week that led to our being conference champs. We could not have done it without Nick. He scored the winning goal in our first game against Euclid, and 3 days later, hammered one home in our history-making victory over East Lake North. Great job, Nick. Joe DiVincenzo. Another midfielder who did not rack up the points but had a significant impact on our success was Joe D. Joe put in a goal in our 2-1 win against South and had 2 key assists against Kirtland. Then he ignited the team when we really needed it against Russ with 2 quick goals in the first half. Great job and great season. Thank you. Ray Bailey. Hey, Grant, could you hand out some of these kids when they come by so I can't do anything? Greg is one of them. I knew that Greg was our stopper, but we played around with Greg in midfield for a few games. If you recall, Greg, do you remember when we put you in midfield in the beginning of the year? That was fun, wasn't it? Okay. I tell you, I knew we wasn't a stopper. And then it happened. We put it back there, and when we did, we shut down Chandler at US. We shut down Shaker Heights and Paul Webb. We took care of big, bad Bubba from Brush. We shut down Dushmovic from Euclid. And we, largely due to Greg Bay, took care of a hotshot all Ohio from Cuyahoga Falls and Youngstown. Greg is a great stopper, and I thank you. Tell your feet. When I mentioned earlier this evening that this team is a group of soccer players who just happen to be attending high school, Kelly is a prime example. Kelly, I don't believe, does not try to create his spotlight appearances on purpose. He's just there because he's intelligent in the ways of soccer. Kelly's goals against US, West G, and Menor will long be remembered. I'm glad this soccer player wears his vest for his family in the halls of Banquet. Thank you, Kelly. Let me stutter in peace. When you look back on a season with only one loss, each and every win is very special. Mike had a lot to do with the team's success this year, and in one game in particular. When the refs seemed to be totally anti-Mayfield, Mike played in a starting role a very cool game against Kirtland. And at practice, Mike works hard in all our drills, which brings out the best in everyone. Thank you, Mike. Giuseppe had a couple of outstanding appearances this year, which added to 2 big wins. His midfield performance was the boost we needed to preserve our 1-0 win against Shaker and our 4-2 win over Kirtland. And of course, we'll never forget his blast into the net against the Arc for a 6-goal and 8-goal game, and he loved every minute of it. Great job, just that. George Shapiro. George is another soccer player who happens to be attending high school. He absolutely loves the game. He likes to show how much he loves the game. I'm especially pleased that George, until our last regular season game, was credited with an assist against St. Joe. Thank God it wasn't a goal. There'd be no shutting him up. I wish there weren't so many jokes about Dan Quayle, because I'd like to say that in a way Jake was the vice president of our team. Perhaps we should look upon Jake as a savings account who's ready for emergency withdrawal. Jake, you really appreciate and respect your total commitment to the team, and I commend you for your shutouts against Beechwood, Turbulence, and St. Joe. Great job. Now for the senior starters. As Paul would say at halftime, let's start from the back. Rich Kovach. Rich had a great season. A total and a team record of 7 shutouts, undefeated for 23 straight games, and a team that was ranked 4th in the state. 2 years ago, after back-to-back shutouts and losses against South and North, I felt that Rich would get even eventually. He got more than even. He got a championship. Starts from the back. Great job, Rich. We had another experiment that we tried in the beginning of the year with Pez at the midfield, but I knew he was my sweeper. Mark took it upon himself to chase down the opponent's threat when they broke through, and he became strong in the air, which definitely added to our strength overall. Mark's best games were the close ones, when we needed him the most. University, Strongsville, East Lake, and the toughest, which sent us to the district final against Cuyahoga Falls. I will never forget Mark's efforts that week. Thank you, Mark. Jeff Allen. Jeff was a heck of a defender this year. He keeps attackers outside the penalty box extremely well. And I say if he's beaten, his pursuit is unbelievably swift. Jeff also became strong in the air this year and assumed the role of free kick specialist. He had several outstanding games, but especially his goal versus Shaker and his sprint to stop that guy from North will never be forgotten. Super defender, Jeff Allen. And Cleveland. At practice, everybody laughs when I bring this up, but I swear there's a forward hiding someplace in the booth. I can't believe he didn't score or register an assist. Ed sends the ball in extremely well. His best regular season game was our 3-3 tie at Menor, but I'll always remember his playing pain and illness when we took Cuyahoga Falls in the tournament, and we could not have won that game without Ed. Thank you, Ed. Jeff Green. been instrumental in leading the team to a 3-year record of 40, 14, and 8. He began this season, as he did his freshman year, injured and unable to train. When he did dress though and was asked to play midfield instead of forward, he said no problem. When he was manhandled by the team, he pretty much kept his mouth shut. He matured greatly in 3 years, and he helped make Mayfield a winner. As a sophomore, I remember when Jeff took the entire Hackney team from Kirtland on, and we beat them 4-0. Jeff had a hat trick. We'll never forget, as a sophomore, his 2 great goals against North Eden, and neither will winner. And also as a sophomore, when he broke the school record and took himself out of the game so other players could have some time late in the game. That was one of the best moves that he ever made. As a junior, he had a super game last year versus Euclid. His weak left foot barely put the ball over the line, but we needed that goal, and he also had an assist on the other goal for a 2-1 win. Even though we lost, we'll always also recall his making Jason Kuzma fall all over himself at Brush. As a senior, this year, talk about timely goals or assists. His throw with 6 seconds left to tie Menor 3-3. Our 1-1 tie when he had his first conference goal of the year was extremely timely, and the Borden goal to send us to the state semifinals. Okay, I mean, talk about timely. Jeff, I think you're trying to put your dad in the piece of couch. We have a great season. Thank you very much. Most people in the greater Cleveland area know Matt Smith already. Maybe not personally, but I'll bet they recognize that beaming smile featured twice on the TV anywhere. On the field, however, Matt is all business. He showed us all right away by going 1v11 against Hawking in the scrimmage. We won 1-0. A few games early on, we tested Matt at defense. Things were going fine in our estimation. But one day in practice, he walked over to Paul and me, and instead of appearing at 5'11" he says he is, he seemed about 8 feet tall. Matt said to us, "I want to play forward." Paul and I looked at each other, then we looked at Matt, and we said, "Sure, no sense you being unhappy. Matt, I'm happy that we made you happy. The future forward won't be happy. It could take them forever to break your record of 35 points in the season." Super job, Matt. One round. Next year, Joe, we can date sometime in the middle of August. Why not my birthday? I'll take you right now. You know, it's Joe's fault in a way that I've been injured for over a year. I trained, wasn't out in the weight to take this boy down this year. And I overmatched on the barbell. Coach Decay was there and had to go to physical therapy for a month. It affected my golf game. And I just couldn't have the strength I really wanted for this year's fight. But perhaps we'll have an alumni battle. In 1986, after I called Joe because he overslept, this kid was in 9th grade, he came jogging onto the field late for his first practice. As a freshman, though, the kid scored 6 goals. One was a 1-0 victory over Painesville. In 1987, as a sophomore, I took him down. Pinned by the coach. Of course, it was a cheap shot. I didn't know it was coming. He was the wind I've ever saw. He recovered enough to score 7 goals and have 6 assists in the shadow of Steve Bay and Jeff's first outstanding year. As a junior, in 1988, he took me down in about 10 seconds and needed no time to recuperate from that, of course. He produced 13 goals and 7 assists. This year, a little on the chubby side for the summer of fun, it took a while for Joe to take me down, as I mentioned, but he did. He got fit, though, quite soon after that, and he showed the GCC and Northeast Ohio the proper way to score goals. At Menor and East Lake and at home against Cuyahoga Falls, Joe put on the prettiest displays of net finding I've ever seen as a coach in 14 years. He may be graduated, but I know I'll see him around, because I still owe him a pizza. will also have certificates from the state for their participation in the Final Four. And for those boys who were with the team, come up afterwards, and I've got some. We're getting there. We're getting there. Special award, as I said, I have certificates for. Plaques will be forthcoming. Okay? They are ordered, and we'll get them to you guys as soon as we can. For special award, we already know all about it, because it comes in the summertime, and it's the Fonz Mara Award, and that's for the best preseason performance. I happen to have Fonz's brother Adam in class this year at 12th grade English, and I told him today about who was getting the award, and he's real happy that the award exists, and I'm real happy this year to once again issue it to Joe Crane, because he runs, he has spirit, he goes all out at all times. Joe Crane of the Fonz Mara Award. We're going to start with the big one, and then go to certificates. I've got real plaque for this one here. You all know we had our All Ohio boy this year. So, Jeff, you come up here please and accept this plaque. I'll say people are plaque. Very quickly, what a career Jeff has had. I'm not sure if all of you are fully aware of it. As a sophomore, Jeff broke the school record in gold with 18, and he ruined East Lake's DCC party. As a junior, he broke another school record in total points, with 13 goals and 16 assists. And now as a senior, in a new position, he set a third school record in total assists with 18, and they weren't all on throw-ins. Yes, all Ohio, all Mid-East, and this award is truly well-deserved, and I expect him to admire him for it. Thank you. We have another All-Ohio recipient, and it may come as a surprise, although it really shouldn't, for academics, and that is Jeff Piacco. He comes forward to this. Real certificate, not one I just had to say this in would. It's definitely not easy to simply be a varsity athlete as well as a top-notch student. But even more impressive is the fact that Jeff trades in his boots for his swim goggles when soccer is over, and he still excels in the classroom. Why, Jeff can even out-argue Coach Rayner on the climactic changes due to the lake effect. Congratulations, Jeff, again. And all that. Okay, our next set of certificates, soon to be announced in the newspaper, are for the Lake County News Herald All-Stars. And first I'll say my words, and then we'll have the boys come up. A good offense starts with a good defense, it is often said. Well, our News Herald All-Star selection, featuring our most defense-minded junior midfielder and our senior defenders, definitely got the ball rolling for us offensively this season. Our News Herald All-Stars, Nick Phillips, Jeff Piacco, Mark Besnick, and Kuzma. Okay, our next four certificates are for the Greater Cleveland Scholastic Soccer Coaches Association All-Stars, which really is no easy task. It's quite an honor because there's 20 or 25 schools there, and there's names over the table, and coaches are trying to brag about their kids. And more than any other team this year, Mayfield was honored by other Northeast Ohio Division I soccer coaches. I'm proud to announce that we have 4 players named to this truly outstanding group of soccer players in this area. Our GCSSCA All-Stars are Matt Smith, Rich Kovac, Jeff Gurney, and Joe Delano. Please stand up. Next, we have our Greater Cleveland Conference first and second team selections, and I'm going to need one more man up here, and that would be Mark Besnick. Mark. I understand, but we have not yet received that the first team winners are supposed to get a plaque from the GCC. They have not come in yet. Another special group are honored by being named to the all-conference team. By virtue of our share in the conference title, we have 5, and I think that we all feel that we could have 15 of them up there or more. But these guys are the ones that were picked, and I'm especially proud of them all. Our next award is one that I started 2 years ago, which I really like. It's called the Sidlecki Award, and it's for the guy who gets the best grade in English. This award is for someone who's a starter and underclassman and just has good sportsmanship and has done a lot of improvement and is a very coachable young man. This player this year is, plain and simple, a good kid. It goes to an underclassman who shows, as I said, good sportsmanship and improvement. Obviously, attitude has a lot to do with the award also. He works hard at practice. During games, he plays like each one is the World Cup final. And I've seen him work in study hall, actually, too. I'd say he's improved and from 2 goals all season long to 3 in 1 tournament game against South. A good kid, a great soccer player. Our Selecting Award winner this year, Doug Smith. Our next presentation is for Player of the Year Defense. If I were a player and my coach looked at me and said, "You're a defender," I'd politely say, "Take that job and shove it." Too much pressure. As a stopper, I'd say, "No way." Always have to mark the All-Ohio forwards. For left or right back, I'd say, "Absolutely not. No thanks. Attacking wings might burn me, I'll be embarrassed." For sweeper, I'd say, "Coach, you've lost your mind. I can't cover for everyone's mistakes. Nobody can." And then in the background here, "I can." I'd say, "Shut up, Rich. What do you know about defense?" "Oh, enough to shut out in the varsity school." "What are you, some kind of wise guy?" "I know enough to stop the Deebs and Ferguson from slipping a game winner by." "You call it high defense. You ever beat East Lake North before, Coach?" "What else can you do?" "Well, I can shut out our last 2 GCC opponents and only let in 11 goals in 18 games while we score 58, you'll recall." "That's not too bad, Rich. Is that all?" "Well, we were undefeated, and I did save a penalty shot in OT to give us a sectional championship." And this is all true, all quite true. One question, Rich. Have you got any wall space at home for Defender of the Year award? Rich Kovac, our player. This next presentation, I just had to do. And before we move on to our offense, I believe our defense deserves a little more attention. While most casual fans always look for who scores points in a game, those close to a particular sport know that you only win if the opponent scores less than you do. Playing good, consistently good defense takes pride. Our defenders are actually a team within a team, a so-called act control team. And the four of them did a super job. Their pride and their need for recognition may have caused a little friction once or twice, but also led us to be champions. And you all receive special plaques that say, act control, with your names. Here they are, Greg Bailey, Jeff Iacco, Ed Kuzma, and Mark Bennett. We have another award real fast before we move on that I made up. And this is an award that will probably just exist this year for somebody who's always at the right place. Kid. Player of the Year offense. In a record-breaking year, there's bound to be a record number of plaques and certificates. On offense this year, we were, in a word, quite blessed. Joe's goals were classy looking, much like himself, rightly done. And Matt's shots, though, were projectiles, and his assists had a touch of birth across. Our record-breaking 20-goal man and our record-breaking 35-point man, players of the year offense, Joe Dalala and Matt Smith. That the mirror back here maybe playing half of it on your stretch. Our next award is Most Improved Soccer Player of the Year. It doesn't matter that this player was not, on paper anyway, a significant part of the offense. One assist or two maybe, but no goals. But what an improvement. Non-stop hustle. 80-minute game after 80-minute game. Pressure assignments against Menor, Cuyahoga Falls, Norman, and North Homestead. Pressure assignments and outstanding results. This player has skills, he has intelligence, and the best ingredient of all now, he has confidence. This player is Greg Bailey. It's another award and one more page. Okay? Our most valuable player. We already know quite a bit about this young man. Other coaches have placed him on selected all-star teams. He has led his team offensively throughout most of the season. He has stayed healthy. He owns Zelda Ruznik from Menor. He also owns Mayfield's new goal-scoring record, and his team respects him, as do his coaches, for his hustle, his leadership, all season long. Most valuable player, Joe Dalala. Now, before I have my closing comments, I want to tell the team, don't be greedy, because these are special. If you did not get a tournament book, I'm going homestead, but only if you did not get one, because there's only like 22 here. You may get one after the banquet. I also have those newspaper clipping booklets. I put one on a tape, and you can get those.
Really interrupt. There have been a lot of awards given out here, and I'd like to mention right now, point out to everybody that Coach Peck was the Northeast Ohio Coach of the Year and the GCC Coach of the Year for a job well done.
Okay, now for my final remarks. To the team, just once again, thanks for the incredibly exciting ride that you took all of us on this season. Incredible. I don't know if you remember, but in your soccer booklet each year, I always place a poem about pursuing a horizon, as Ken said earlier. And there's also a picture of a player, a ball, and a net with GCC on top of that net on the horizon. And just because you reach this one, don't stop pursuing. Set another goal. And best of luck to all of you. And finally, a quotation, a short one that sums up my feelings as a coach for this year's team, by Bernard Shaw. I am not a teacher, only a fellow traveler of whom you asked the way. I pointed ahead of myself as well as of you. Thank you all for coming.
Before you all leave, we have a couple quick gifts to give out to the coaches and cheerleaders. To present the gifts to cheerleaders, Jeff Ironstone and Mark Davis.
This year, as you all know, the cheerleaders were very, very supportive of us. It was really gratifying to know that they cared that much to come out and see us through the whole year. And especially at the end, with all the decorating and everything, they went way beyond the normal Call of Duty. Then team would like to extend their appreciation and athletes go forward. Kristen, first. Kristen Maschke. Julie Scott. And Diane Brown. This is everyone who leaves this between the defense and the rest of the team.
I'd like to quickly thank Mr. Rayner for his motivation this year. Turning the Jeff Ironstone's house on his own time. Speeches were excellent. And we thank you very much, and we'd like to present you this.
say a few words about our assistant, Paul Haynes. We were very fortunate this year to have Paul. He was like a model to us because of all his experience playing soccer. And working with him in practice, I think we became better players just by seeing someone with his talent. And besides being a great player, he's also a great coach. He's not afraid to speak his mind. And that's what really helped us. And he's a big part of our success this year. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Last but not least, Coach Peck. We took a survey during this banquet about some of the ridiculous quotes he said during this year. Sorry we're ripping on you, but we're having fun. This is my favorite. I walked into practice the first day, and I was just getting my stuff on it. He yelled, "Let's take to the pitch." And I thought to myself, well, what's the pitch? I mean, obviously in England it's the field. This was one of everybody's favorites. This was at our last practice before we played North Olmsted. Everybody go out and buy a new pair of stick studs. There's only one more game left. Why buy a new pair of shoes? This is one that Joe DeLisle likes. I'm taking you down. But this is before he did his wrestling match, but too bad it didn't happen. This one was by Kuzma, lace up your boots. But Kuzma thought to himself, what does that mean? I didn't bring my work boots. This one was by Gurney. We're down by a goal. If we score 2 goals and don't let up any, we'll win the game. I guess so, that's what Jeff said. This is by Matt Smith. Take the game. Take it where? This one was by Doug Smith, his brother. I want to watch the mesh jerseys one more time. You probably really didn't watch them, though. This one was by Kelly O'Keefe. It's been a horrible day, but I can't wait to have another day, a horrible day like this. This was the day after we beat Menor. And Kelly was wondering, why was it so bad we won? Mr. Peck, now that we're done ripping on you, I'd just like to say thank you for everything you did for us in State Street. This team was a family, and you were a major part of this family. On behalf of the varsity soccer team, I'd like to present you this gift. It says, thanks Coach Peck, 21-3, GCC champs, sectional champs, district champs, Mayfield High School soccer, 1989. Thanks for coming.
It's been a great evening, it's been a great year. Thank you very much.
They're on the ice, and they'll skate 6 against 4 for the next 1:15.
U.S. team, of course, has nothing to lose, but it's curious that this sort of situation is often difficult to play for a team when they are defending an empty net for 3 minutes and 15 seconds. They know that a goal against doesn't mean anything, yet instinctively they will panic at times. They will go back into play more defense than they really need to play. And it really is just the unfamiliarity of the situation.
The two centers are waved off, and Granado replaces Millen on this faceoff. 6 skaters against 4. With 3:15 remaining in the game. And 1:15 left in the penalty to Niederberger. Sent along the boards and back out into the U.S. end. Scott Young to Leach. Off Young's skate, and now Granado comes in over the blue line to Millen. Another save by Friesen.
Not a great save, but what was necessary, and just another frustrating moment.
Now Trunchka backhands it in behind the net. 45 seconds left in the penalty. 2:43 now left in the game. Corey Millen. Poke checked away beautifully by Kreis. Young can't keep it in at the point. Trunchka goes down, and a penalty coming up on the United States. 1:34. Steve Leach. Intended for Brown. Comes back the other way. Kreis sends it up ahead to Hagen. Cleared from in front, but Kreis keeps it in. West Germany now has a man advantage. Niederberger comes out of the penalty box, so they wind up killing a double penalty. Sent in by McDonald and sent the length of the ice toward the empty net by Kiesling. Richter is on the bench. The team's, in essence, with the same number of skaters, but the U.S. goaltender has been pulled. And Norton back to get it with 1:22. So the U.S. team, which began with a 10-6 win over Austria, then played spiritedly through 2 losses to Czechoslovakia and the Soviets, win against Norway, but they picked a bad night for really their only clunker of the tournament right here, a night they needed to win.
Well, I think the difference between the two teams tonight and basically in the tournament is that the West German team knows how to survive.
And Trunchka just misses.
The U.S. team never really learned.
And the coup de grace from Rutger.
All year long, the U.S. team has played against opposition that was not up to its standard. And because it wasn't, the U.S. team learned how to attack. But they never found themselves in the very tough moments that every team needs to find itself in when they're playing against a good opponent. When they found themselves up against that better opponent, they could play at the peaks. They never learned how to play in the valleys. And it has made them a very exciting team to play at times, and a very aggravating team at other times. I guess the thing that I have the hardest time with is that I don't think they needed to play this way. But yes, they're a young team. Yes, they needed youth to go with and emotion, but they also needed control and discipline. Just because you're 22 years old doesn't mean you can't play with discipline. There are plenty of college football teams and college basketball teams that play that way, and they needed that extra dose, and they never quite had it.
And the breakdowns tonight, costing them a couple of goals. Also good goaltending by Friesen of West Germany. And in a game which in effect started with the U.S. behind 1-0, needing 2 goals to win, West Germany is going to win it outright. And win it impressively. Fischer skates in. Rutger couldn't get his stick on it for the deflection. West Germany will be advancing to the medal round, along with the Soviets and Czechoslovakia out of this group. Point-blank shot saved by Richter, and it's over. West Germany has won it by a score of 4-1. And West Germany in this preliminary round is 4-1, and they will go into the medal round with 2 points by virtue of their victory over Czechoslovakia. So the Soviets carry in 4 points to the medal round. West Germany, finishing second in this division, will carry in 2 points. Czechoslovakia will carry in no points, and the United States is eliminated as they wind up fourth in the division. Norway and Austria, playing to a 4-4 tie today, wind up tied for fifth. In Group A, Canada and Sweden will be advancing with either Finland or Switzerland, depending on the outcome of games tomorrow. So that's the story for now from the Saddledome. Let's go back to Jim McKay.
All right, Al, thank you. So the United States will have one more game in the consolation round on Thursday. Well, there are medals in the medal round, but there's